International versus ONIC Philippines Game 1. It's our first series of Week 2, Day number 2.
Exciting because one lucky commenter who guesses correctly will win a redeemable in-game code. Remember, keep an eye out for the poll.
As we enter in the land of Don Renmar, what can we expect in the early game with this type of lineup?
Okay, so first for ONIC, they're going to need to be careful with their early skirmishes around the Litho Wanderer, right around the first turtle or before the second turtle, just so that they can avoid the Marta Snowball. And they also need to watch out for something that Blacklist likes to do, which is at around the second or third turtle, they'll immediately send their gold laner to the opposite lane, switch lanes, and only leave the XP laner and the jungler to go for the turtle, because that's Blacklist trying to get conversion across the map.
That's the onward, that's the poke. NJ secures first blood for Blacklist International. We're talking about early game rotation, and they're doing it quickly against ONIC Philippines.
The early game damage as well coming in from this lineup is just insanely good. And Blacklist International, they did get that first blood, but in a best case scenario type of way, a kill could have went to Sensui's hands and we could have gotten that early game win condition. And looking at the emblem build-up brought to you by FWD Life Insurance, Renmar, what can we see here that is quite interesting for you?
Oh, we went by a little bit too fast. They got a good amount of... Look at all those quantum charges on the side of ONIC.
A lot.
That's them wanting to sidestep a lot of what Blacklist likes to bring to the table, get a little bit more heal. Good for them.
Yeah, honestly, the sustain is quite good coming in from the quantum charge and the bonus movement speed as well. Not only helps you to go around the fights way easier, but also helps you sustain in lane, which is a great commodity in the current meta game. But of course, we still haven't seen the first hurdle of the game. It will be spawning a few seconds from now. Who does have that edge? I do think it's Blacklist International, but what can ONIC do?
Well, with all of the emblems that you guys mentioned, hold that, NJ being caught up in 3, bouncing ball, trying to slow him down. But to go back to your thought there, this is just thing that they can utilize. Like 4 quantum charges, they could actually have a good athletic pace against Blacklist International.
Yeah, since NJ slow, this is good for ONIC.
Okay, that's Perksiva trying to make the jump, trying to slow down Sensui, but can he still make it though? Still holding the borderline with that gem being caught by Sensui. Look at the taunt. Now ONIC Philippines guarding their own objective. First turtle of the game goes to the Hedgehogs.
Great shot calling coming in from ONIC Philippines. Renmar, how did they secure that despite Blacklist having the lead?
Well, they found Renajay in the mid. They brought him low. They sent him back, and that changed Blacklist's approach into taking that first turtle. ONIC just got the job done there. That was a great rotation by them.
And now ONIC Philippines securing that first turtle of the game. It does get a slight... I think a slight, not even a gold advantage, because Blacklist International, they still hold that gold lead, but still a very small gold lead and not even relevant in the early games. And Sui yet to find his first kill of the game, which should be the main win condition for Blacklist International right now. Get that jungler ahead.
Yeah, they were actually struggling to get in the beeline of ONIC Philippines made. There's a lot of taunts, a lot of even hold and slow. So with that kind of exchange, you might need that extra poke burst that Haji can do with his gourd. But at that point, it was still missing. So maybe next time around, they will have a greater rotation against ONIC Philippines. That's one way that they can actually secure a kill.
And now we are entering the 3-minute mark. Perksiva looking for the play. He finds Haji.
That's the Tyrant's Rage with the comeback. 2-man knockup from Blacklist International, but the Ryzen and Perksiva, though, trying to bounce back. For safety, Renajay, an exchange, but Haji burns out his flicker, and as well as Perksiva for that set.
Oh, it's interesting what ONIC is doing in approaching this game. They're focusing a lot of attention in the center of the map, just playing around the river.
Yeah, speaking of playing around, looks like Edward won't be escaping this one. Gem securing the kill with the final slash. Ryzen, though, still poking Sensui out of the distance. Wow. They're doing it faster now, Womi.
That's what we were talking about earlier, Renmar. The crowd control coming in from ONIC and the unlimited vengeance dashes coming in from Gem. So that will be putting that Arlet at 1 kill ahead. And Edward might be struggling over here.
Perksiva trying to...
stolen!
Sensui stolen! Purple by ONIC Philippines.
ONIC are just playing this game so well now. Perksiva, again, he's doing it really well with Super Friends. Their rotations, their timings, their communication is on point, and the pick off onto Edward, Gem, just tracking Edward really well in lane, providing that info so that they can either take down or at least mark the Paquito.
Yeah, and with that, the gold lead rather is now equalized for our second turtle of the game, and this will be started once again by ONIC Philippines. Blacklist, on the other hand, won't be trying to contest this. I feel like they're going to give it away.
Yeah, I think that would be the right thing to do for the code because now there's so much siege, there's so much taunt. Even by the item build right now being built on our screens, they need that extra burst, they need that extra poke for Haji. Having this gourd around them is a way to penetrate the backline of ONIC Philippines.
Oh, here it is.
Speaking of which, top lane gets the action. Oh, Nets receives damage, but still surviving that hit.
Yeah,
Blacklist peeled off one from ONIC.
OEB trying to set that up for Blacklist International. Turtle will be secured here by ONIC Philippines, and now a big rotation come top lane. Perxiva will be knocked up just for a bit. Blacklist International are going to back off. What can we expect as we enter the mid-game mark, Renmar? Is ONIC Philippines finally going to be more aggressive?
Oh, yeah, they can definitely do that, but then I feel like they're going to be comfortable with this controlled tempo. They're not way too excited to get stuff. They're making sure that Perxiva, Prince, Ryzen, or anyone else are together to make sure the setups of the tanks are coming in. And hey, we mentioned earlier the lane switch or the trade that Blacklist usually does at second turtle. They did just that.
Ooh.
Oh, Energy!
Missed the chance to flicker and onward.
What a sidestep.
Yeah, also from a conceal.
I just have to say that doesn't really work. When you flicker while you're casting onward, there is no animation canceling that will happen. The only animation canceling that you could do with onward is to actually onward first, then flicker backside. But that takes a lot of timing. So I do feel like Renegade burned that flicker mainly to close the gap, not to land an animation cancel or whatever.
Yeah, speaking of having a gap, ONIC Philippines doing a great job in holding most of their front lines. But it's just the presence of Perxiva and even Ryzen on the ranks. And yeah, completely getting on their own objectives. Just on to 7 minutes of the game.
Look at Gem and Edward. Slight change in the momentum in their laning phase, wherein we're seeing Edward get out of the river a little bit more than Gem. Gem's starting to feel what usually you feel when you're up against a Paquito in lane, wherein the Paquito is almost always going to get out of lane first.
Yeah. I love how you mentioned that, mainly because the Paquito is just so good in the laning phase right now. I do think that the only XP laner that could actually go up against a Paquito is a export that could space well.
Yeah. It's a fair point for you to have this counter, because even on his lanes, just by this hero alone can sustain his own, and yeah, no damage from his own turret. And yeah, just still surviving this. It's the third turtle in ONIC Philippines having their own rotation in this objective. Securely taking another one. 3 turtles in.
They go for cross-map trades. Blacklist give that up. They break bot, but ONIC will break top. So in that way, instead of taking the risk, both teams just decided to equalize. But let's see, because that means that's going to turn the focus of the game into the middle of the map.
And looking at how things are going, Edward might be in trouble here. Gets terrified. Nice flicker out, though.
Yeah, speaking of flicker out, now they're disengaging from the possible takedown of ONIC Philippines. They're really finding a way to pick out one from this team right now.
And look at Nets just having the time of his life, and this is a throwback to Nets' first season as well in ONIC Philippines. A lot of gold lane pushing that we could see, or not even just in the gold lane, all around the map. One of the best gold laners that employs that split push strategy.
Yeah, and it's like right now I'm watching 2 Kung Fu masters go at it, where it's not like direct offense. They're just like taking the opponent's momentum, using it against them. It's like both of them are flowing in the state of battle right now. No one's bumping their heads onto the wall. They're both just trying to trade. They're taking and picking their fights. We have to credit ONIC PH, this lineup that they brought out here, and Perxiva making his MPL debut this season. Looks very comfortable together. And their timings, again, we keep saying it, but their timings are just so good.
Yeah, the timing is really important here for ONIC Philippines, mainly because that was their problem
Next
time.
Flash been used with Perxiva. They're trying to slow down Black International to penetrate. Haji using that Mystic Gush to force away ONIC Philippines. We were talking about time, but Super Prince falls down.
Yeah, Super Prince eradicated from the map immediately. And Blacklist International still holding that burst damage. They gotta respect that.
Yeah, man, those little moments where your discipline slips cannot be shown there. That was a slight slip in discipline by Super Prince. A little bit too forward, a little bit too close to the tower. It's like he forgot that he was up against a Gord who can just toss out like, well, Gord's bouncing ball thing.
Yeah,
stun
that-
him.
Poke burst.
I think it's called Mystic
Projectile.
Projectile, yeah.
Mystic Projectile.
Renegade starts the fight though. That is Perxiva falling down. Sensui takes the kill. Haji used the Mystic Guts to poke down Ryzen. But Ryzen takes down Renegade. The Hitman is down, as well as Perxiva, though. No setups for ONIC Philippines and BLACKLIST International, but Edward's trying to hold the front line.
Oh no,
Still
both
ending it though.
both roamers down already, but looks like the Lord will be pulled over by BLACKLIST.
Edward?
Edward into the back line, that's
Oh, he just flickered right onto the taunt. He's just he's still safe. He's still being chased down. He won't escape. Nets takes him down.
Agent Zero got baited underneath the turret, and now the Lord will be controlled by ONIC Philippines. Renmar, what did ONIC do there?
Well, Nets' life flashed before his eyes, not once but twice. But he really was still looking out for Edward every time. He knew he couldn't be too comfortable, feeling like, oh, I'm gonna get away from this. But then ONIC also covered their marksman really well. So BLACKLIST again will be forced to go for the trade. They give up this first Lord of the game while they're gonna go for a tower up top. Again, I'm just so impressed right now with how ONIC are playing this game.
Nets is just having a great game right now. Still a perfect game for this Claude as he pushes another turret. And I think this is ONIC's play style right now. Just giving Nets the space to farm, the space to push, and cash in on big fights just like that one.
Yeah, even by looking at these items right now, he is completely having his own damage and insurance late game. But even the gold earned, he's on top of the list.
Oh, and right now ONIC are on top of it all, especially here in the mid. And whoever's going to break or the tower in the mid first or win a big fight in the mid first will end up taking control of the game for the next 2-3 minutes, maybe even longer, before things just start swinging into another side as well. Most of the damage dealt right now is being actually dealt by Oheb, Ahaji, and Edward. But what ONIC are doing is that they're really counting the abilities of BLACKLIST International. They're watching out for when they get to use their big abilities.
Oh, Renegade being taunted. That's the onward. That's the Earth Shatter. But the follow-up, Haji's starting to first it down. Renegade, though, still holding it through. Use the ultimate. Now Perxiva trying to find an avenue for setup. Use the conceal. And still, they're on to Nets. They're chasing one. Can he escape? Can he escape? He's still living. 1, 2, and punch. He goes down.
Edward with the flicker secures that kill, and BLACKLIST International, they successfully defend against that level 1 Lord push. No inhibitor turrets down, but the one up top is severely wounded. ONIC Philippines, I do believe that they got what they wanted, just not all of it.
I was questioning the decision actually by BLACKLIST to just, hey guys, that's Ryzen, he's a Fredrin, why are you using all of your abilities there? But then now BLACKLIST have been counting their own abilities. They brought Ryzen down low, but they were still watching in for the entry, especially of Nets, and they were able to counterpunch it. It's like this time it was BLACKLIST baiting ONIC into doing something.
Yeah, and we could see that from, I think if you replay that fight, it was such a beautiful fight despite it being a very messy one.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes messy is beautiful, and BLACKLIST International, they knew what they wanted the moment ONIC Philippines went in. As you said, they cashed in on the Claude, and I'm honestly quite surprised on how many abilities they had left to secure that Claude right after.
Yeah, they just want to have a way to just slow down Nets' damage, and from that, but just even looking at the kills on our boards in 3 to 4 in just 30 minutes, the goal is not even ahead by ONIC for BLACKLIST International having the right tabs on to secure their late game. I say it's just completely even.
Yeah, from macro we're gonna go into micro here. Counting abilities, watching for dashes, those big burst damage that both teams have in their ability kits, their control abilities. Those little things can add up to major consequences for a team fight. But now you're also going to look for how ONIC are going to be managing their minion wave management and map management around the Lords, because now because of them leaving that top wave, they're forced to bring Nets back, which gives BLACKLIST a much better positioning in this Lord.
And this is a Luminous Lord, which means it's high value entering the mid-game. Ryzen will be holding it right inside the pit. All members of both squads already positioning around that Lord area in BLACKLIST International. Renegade in the Pixel Brush. Perxiva does find Edward, but doesn't really go all in. Still, a very long dash, but looks like they're going to go for the fight.
No, the fight now is about to break out, but Renegade used a flicker, and Nets and Gem was trying to look for a way to take down one for BLACKLIST. but still they're maintaining this pace. They're still holding the line, but who gets it? That's the onward. But Gem looking for a way to take one down, but they're still maintaining the Sensui though. And Ryzen onto this Lord, onto this Luminous Lord objective. Who gets it? ONIC Philippines are here present. Edward from the back.
Pincer.
Looking for a way. That's the flicker. That's the space. A follow from Haji though. Ryzen secures the Lord. And now there's action bringing up Oheb.
Look at this!
Perksiva taking down one Oheb as well with exchange. Nets as well as the damage. Now connecting on to BLACKLIST International. 2-man down. And they're forced to go back to the base to defend.
And now ONIC Philippines, after a long Lord dance, that was a 2-minute Lord dance, were able to secure that Lord, and now BLACKLIST 2-man down as they push in the mid lane without the Lord. They're trying to force this quite early.
Oh man, that was such a clutch moment delivered in a perk cup by Perksiva. That Tyrant's Rage finding out Sensui was massive for ONIC.
A massive win indeed. Now still, there's still the base for BLACKLIST International to even hold and defend. But can they still make it? No, turret up top is left. One more turret to defend the base of the code. And ONIC still just praying on to enter the base.
Going into this, I mentioned, if ONIC can get a game or even win the series against BLACKLIST, that means they changed something. And they did. Their roamer and how they played, how they rotate, how they communicate. You can see it, how they brought it out. Now we get into the part of the game. The next big question for ONIC, how are you going to bring that control into a well-translated mid to late game? Look at the item, still very, very close. 3.7k, but there's no crucial item just yet we have to watch out for here as a game changer. Both marksmen, though, already have their Wind of Natures. Immortality's on the board, still just on the Fredrin of Ryzen. I believe there's one or two more though on the side of BLACKLIST, but I have to eat my words here because SuperFriends actually just built up a Divine Glaive.
You know, the interesting bit about here is that the next Lord will be an Evolved Lord already. And if you've watched the MPL or you've seen how international tournaments or competitive tournament goes, whoever gets the Evolved Lord mainly secures the game as well. Doesn't like the gold day doesn't really matter that much. If you have like I think around 3-4 members that are alive after you take the Evolved Lord, you almost instantly swing that gold back to you. So BLACKLIST International, all they have to do is to make sure that their next big team fight for that Evolved Lord is quite good. ONIC Philippines, on the other hand, the pressure is on them. They have to make sure that they secure this Evolved Lord to cash in on that win.
Yeah, either they secure this last swing that they can do on the base of BLACKLIST International. Good point there, well, I mean, they just need to have a way to have their late game insurance, and then just having the Lord, buying more time, and even for push. But even with the damage received, Edward is still maintaining that though. But most of the time that they're looking for a chance to pick off ONIC Philippines, it's just so hard for them to have a pick-off. There's so much escape, and even there's so much damage. But if they went of catching one, isolating one from ONIC Philippines, that thing's just completely going down.
One thing I want to see BLACKLIST International try is during the Lord fights, not only send Edward to do the pincer ganks, send someone alongside Edward to gank the other members of ONIC. That way, that increases their chances of being able to get down the key backline targets that they're looking for.
And honestly, I do feel like Edward does have the burst damage to do that. And looks like ONIC Philippines will be the ones to start this.
Got caught in the final slash. Now he's down. Immortality pop now. Now he can't escape. SuperFriends secures the kill. Now they're forced to retreat, but they're still fighting it through Edward. They're right in front of ONIC Philippines. Gem goes down. Oheb secures the kill. That's the Mystic. Wow. ONIC Net still survives, but still BLACKLIST International trying to chase down one. Immortality being used. Rising. And they're not surviving that one. An onslaught. BLACKLIST International bounces back, and now they're taking this Lord for themselves.
And we talked about this earlier, Remar. What did we talk about? It's the Evolved Lord team fight completely swinging that goal back to their favor.
Oh, ONIC, all of their progress gone in a snap. And it looks like they got too excited that they were able to finally take down that one key target. But I don't think they expected the BLACKLIST would just continue fighting right after that. They missed their counts. They missed their abilities. They didn't take into account that Haji would flicker forward while Mystic gushing to bring nets down low. ONIC, they slipped yet again.
In that 3K gold lead on the hands of ONIC, not only did BLACKLIST take that from them, but they're also not yet done with this push. They had the Evolved Lord up top. Mid lane and bot lane wave might have some fixing to do, but still, Blacklist, they have the chance to end this with a good team fight.
Yo, speaking of team fight though, the ONIC Philippines needs to hold this chance if they want to survive into this game. We're looking at the classic Blacklist international rotation, and that is how they capitalize on those small windows of mistakes. ONIC just completely committed right in front of that objective take. Completely now, tables just turned for them.
Yeah, and you could see that with how the map is being controlled by Blacklist. And now they might just go for the final push here. The Evolve Lord up top, mid lane and bot lane all crashing down inside the ONIC base.
Oh, now that's the knock-up. Just forcing everything out of ONIC Philippines. How can they defend Sensui though, using a way to poke down Ryzen. Final slash, pushing away Sensui and Renegade, but now that's the set that they're looking for. It's go time for ONIC Philippines. One goes down, Mortality has been used. Oheb flickers out for safety.
Bang!
But now that is one turret down. Ryzen takes down Oheb. No marksman for Blacks International. The chase continues. Gem and as well, so there's some ONIC are chasing Renegade down. Wow, they're completely having a great recovery from this one. Finally, Edward being chased down by 3. Can he escape?
They're looking for him.
Flicker. That's the chase. Super Friends takes him down.
And the worst part for Blacklist International is if Haji can't go home, this is completely endable via the mid lane wave.
Oh! That's just a bouncing ball slowing him down, Haji. Projectiles giving away
Man,
to protect his base.
Perk Siva, it looks like it's Perk's over now.
Oh, baby! Hug right on to the crystal, and it's gone. Their few moments, ONIC Philippines completely securing game number 1 against Blacklist International.
And this mini moment is brought to you by our official sponsor, FWD Life Insurance. A life-changing play from Perk Siva in that defense. And another great play coming in from their MPL debutee in that end game was just so good for ONIC Philippines securing that game 1 win.
Oh, he's looking like the cure for your common roamer right now. How Perk Siva playing that game. My goodness, back to back. It started